Have you ever sat down with the intention to focus on something important, only to find your mind drifting away within seconds? You open a book and suddenly, you're thinking about a conversation from 3 days ago. You begin working on an important project and somehow, your attention gets pulled toward notifications, random memories, future worries, or thoughts that seem completely unrelated to the task in front of you. You tell yourself to concentrate. You try harder. You force your attention back. Yet somehow, your mind continues to scatter itself in every direction. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. In fact, one of the greatest psychological challenges of modern life is not a lack of intelligence, talent, or opportunity. It is the inability to gather the mind. At Silent Mind Academy, we explore the hidden forces that shape human consciousness. And today, we will uncover one of the most valuable skills a person can develop in the modern world: the art of focus. Not focus as productivity, not focus as discipline, but focus as a psychological state of inner unity. Because focus is far more than concentrating on a task. Focus is the ability to bring scattered pieces of your attention back into one place. It is the art of becoming whole. Most people believe they have an attention problem. What they actually have is an attention fragmentation problem. Their minds are divided between the past and the future, between desires and fears, between what they are doing and what they wish they were doing, between reality and imagination. Their attention is constantly pulled apart. And where attention is divided, energy is weakened. Imagine sunlight spreading across an entire field. It provides warmth but little power. Now imagine that same sunlight concentrated through a magnifying glass. Suddenly, it becomes powerful enough to ignite fire. The human mind works in exactly the same way. Scattered attention creates weak results. Focused attention creates extraordinary results. But why is focus becoming so difficult? The answer lies deep within human psychology. Your brain evolved in a world completely different from the one you live in today. For thousands of years, survival depended on noticing every possible threat. A rustling bush, an unfamiliar sound, movement in the distance. The ability to shift attention quickly increased chances of survival. Distraction was once a survival advantage. But modern life has transformed that ancient mechanism into a source of suffering. Today, the threats are no longer predators. They are notifications, advertisements, breaking news, social media feeds. Endless streams of information competing for your attention. Your brain still responds to novelty exactly as it did thousands of years ago. Every new stimulus triggers curiosity. Every notification promises reward. Every interruption steals a piece of your focus. And over time, your attention becomes conditioned to fragmentation. This creates a dangerous cycle. The more distracted you become, the harder focus feels. The harder focus feels, the more you seek distraction. And the more you seek distraction, the weaker your ability to concentrate becomes. Eventually, many people begin believing there is something wrong with them. But there isn't. Your mind is not broken. It is simply adapting to the environment surrounding it. And understanding this changes everything. Because if distraction is learned, focus can also be learned. The first truth about focus is surprisingly simple. Focus is not about forcing the mind. It is about guiding it. Most people approach concentration like a battle. They fight their thoughts. They attack distractions. They criticize themselves whenever attention wanders. But psychology shows that force often creates resistance. The harder you struggle against your mind, the stronger the struggle becomes. Have you ever tried not to think about something? The more you try, the more persistent the thought becomes. Focus works differently. Instead of controlling the mind through force, focus emerges through gentle redirection. Just as a skilled shepherd guides sheep back toward the flock, attention can be guided back toward the present moment. Again and again. Without anger, without judgment, without frustration. This simple act of returning is the foundation of concentration. Not perfection. Returning. Because even the most focused people lose concentration. The difference is they come back faster. One of the greatest misconceptions about focus is that it means narrowing awareness. In reality, true focus begins with awareness itself. Before you can direct your attention, you must first notice where it has gone. This is why mindfulness has become such an important subject in modern psychology. Mindfulness strengthens what researchers call meta-awareness, the ability to observe your own mental activity, to recognize when attention drifts, to notice distractions as they arise, to become conscious of unconscious habits. Without awareness, distraction controls you. With awareness, you gain choice. And choice is where freedom begins. Think about how often your mind operates automatically. You pick up your phone without intention. You open social media without purpose. You switch tasks without realizing it. Hours disappear. Attention vanishes. And afterward, you wonder where the day went. This is not focus. This is unconscious living. Focus begins when consciousness returns. When you become fully present in what you are doing. Psychologists often describe a state known as flow. Flow occurs when attention becomes completely absorbed in a meaningful activity. Time seems to disappear. Self-consciousness fades. Effort feels natural. The task and the person performing it become unified. Athletes experience it. Artists experience it. Writers experience it. Musicians experience it. Scientists experience it. Anyone can experience it. But flow cannot exist where attention is fragmented. Flow requires total participation. And total participation requires gathered attention. This reveals a profound truth. Focus is not merely about accomplishing tasks. Focus is about experiencing life more deeply. Because wherever your attention goes, your life follows. If your attention constantly lives in the future, anxiety grows. If your attention constantly lives in the past, regret grows. But when attention settles into the present moment, life becomes vivid. Colors appear richer. Conversations become meaningful. Work becomes engaging. Experiences become real. You begin living instead of merely thinking about living. And perhaps this is what many people are truly seeking. Not productivity, presence. The challenge is that modern society profits from distraction. Entire industries are built around capturing your attention. Every notification, every advertisement, every algorithm, every endless feed, all designed to keep your mind moving. Because attention is one of the most valuable resources in the world. Where attention goes, money follows. Influence follows. Behavior follows. Yet, most people give away their attention freely without realizing its value. Imagine carrying a bag filled with gold and handing out pieces to every stranger you meet. That is what many people do with their attention every single day. A little here, a little there, until nothing remains for what truly matters. Focus begins when you reclaim ownership of your attention. When you stop allowing every external stimulus to dictate your inner state. When you choose consciously what deserves your energy. This requires boundaries. Not only physical boundaries, but mental boundaries. Learning to say no. Learning to disconnect. Learning to create moments of stillness. Because attention grows where space exists. And space has become rare. Many people fear silence because silence reveals the scattered nature of the mind. When distractions disappear, mental noise becomes visible. Thoughts race, emotions surface, restlessness emerges. Yet, this discomfort contains an important lesson. The inability to sit quietly often reveals how fragmented attention has become. But over time, silence becomes a training ground. A place where the mind learns to gather itself. A place where awareness strengthens. A place where concentration develops naturally. The most focused individuals are not necessarily the smartest people. They are often the people who have learned to remain present, to stay with one thing long enough for depth to emerge. Because depth requires time, and time requires attention. In a world obsessed with speed, focus is an act of patience. It is the willingness to remain, to stay, to continue. Even when novelty calls from every direction. This is why mastery in any field requires concentration. Not because talent is unimportant, but because sustained attention allows talent to develop. Every skill grows where focus remains. Every relationship deepens where attention is given. Every meaningful achievement emerges from repeated acts of concentration. Focus is the bridge between potential and reality. Without it, potential remains dormant. With it, potential becomes action. And perhaps, the greatest benefit of focus is not external success. It is inner peace. A scattered mind is often an anxious mind. A fragmented mind is often an exhausted mind. But a gathered mind feels different. It feels calm, grounded, centered, whole. not because problems disappear, but because attention stops being pulled in 1,000 directions at once. You begin experiencing a sense of inner coherence, an alignment between thought, action, and awareness. And this alignment creates psychological strength. The world becomes less overwhelming. Decisions become clearer. Purpose becomes stronger. Life becomes simpler. Not because circumstances changed, but because your relationship to attention changed. So, the next time your mind begins to wander, remember this. Focus is not the absence of distraction. It is the practice of returning. Again and again. Without judgment, without frustration, without self-criticism. Every return strengthens awareness. Every return strengthens concentration. Every return gathers another piece of the mind. And eventually, what once felt impossible becomes natural. The scattered mind becomes unified. The restless mind becomes steady. The distracted mind becomes clear. And in that clarity, something remarkable appears. Not merely productivity, not merely success, but presence. The ability to fully inhabit your own life. Because the art of focus is ultimately the art of living. To be where you are, to do what you are doing, to give yourself completely to this moment. And in a world constantly trying to pull your attention away, that may be one of the most powerful skills you will ever develop. This is Silent Mind Academy. And remember, your attention is your life. Gather it wisely.